One of the greatest challenges of leadership is the building of momentum towards a common vision. Oftentimes, as leaders, we think that if we cast a compelling vision, that should be enough to rally the troops, to join arms, and to move towards this greater future. But there are so many things going on in the hearts and in the minds of all of the individuals that make up our organization that we need to be mindful as leaders to how we actually cultivate and sustain momentum that will carry us into the future in a healthy, reproducible kind of way. So we want to offer you a few lenses that might be helpful as you're thinking through how you are cultivating your own leadership in your organization. So the first lens we want to be thinking through is the need for us to align core values. Oftentimes we get into leadership rooms and we state what our organization's core values are, but really what those are aspirational values. Values can be the true values of individuals and of organizations can be observed by an outsider and say, well, that's how I know those people. This is the behavior that I see in them. And those are true values. So if we want to change those, we actually have to form those to equip our people to live into a new kind of value set. And so for us as leaders, the first stage really in building healthy momentum in our organization is to begin to align core values. And when we don't see those core values lived out, it's our opportunity to begin to equip and to form the people towards these preferred future states. The second thing we need to be mindful too is that there are historical reasons why people are not jumping on board. There's a variety of them that we've seen in our work. Perhaps there's this sense that people have been there and done that. We've tried this before, and there was a great fallout last time, and we have to address that. We have to be mindful to people's own insecurities based on their own personal history and their organizational history. The other thing that we often talk about as well is the spiritual realities at play. Oftentimes, God is calling you and your organization towards a new way of operating. And the enemy hates that and will do everything that it can to create conflict. Now, we don't want to go overboard here and say that everything is spiritual oppression. That's not always the case. But we also have to be mindful that just as there is historical precedent, there's also a spiritual reality at play against the vision that God is calling us to move towards. The third thing we want to be mindful to is that people want to believe, and they want to taste, and they want to feel a better tomorrow. They want to get their hands on it. So in this stage, we often talk a lot about the power of testimony. Now, the power of testimony is palpable. And what we're not saying is that we only want to share stories of wild success of individuals that have tried this new way of living and have seen dramatic success. We want to talk about the stories of people who had the gall to step forward and to try something new, even if it didn't go well. We want to hear the story, the whole story, the true story. People don't believe just hype. They want to hear the failure and the success. They want to hear the journey of the individual who went from trying something, failing, getting up and trying it again to the point where they began to see a better future, a better hope, a better tomorrow. That's palpable. That's tangible. People want to hear the journey. And so beyond that, once we've been doing this for a long time and sharing those stories, people begin to have a truer faith in the new system. Now, I want to stop here and pause for a second, because a lot of times as leaders, when we cast that vision, we're also casting the solution with that vision. And we're jumping ahead of a process. We're saying, here's the better future for tomorrow, and here's the new organizational structure. Here's how we need to go after it. And when we do this, we are short-circuiting the buy-in process of every individual that makes up our organization. Oftentimes you see this when a new book is written about a new form of church or a new way of doing business, and the leader reads it and is inspired by the story, and they begin to throw everything out in order to move towards this new organizational structure. And unfortunately, what that does is it lacks the ability to contextualize how those structures got put in place in the first place. We don't think about how that was put together and how that might be implicated in our own context. By walking through this process of momentum building, we're actually bringing people along into the story of recreating who we are as an organization and restructuring so that we will be more effective at reaching people the way that God is inviting us to reach people in our organization and in our city. We'll hope this is a helpful resource for you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. We would love to connect you with one of our coaches and walk with you through any of the extra training that you might find on our site.